Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi Fruit Loop. How are you?
It's late.
It is so late and I'm so tired. And this
Yeah,
might be sloppy, but we did it in good faith, y'all. I'm
yeah.
tired.
You
Quick
got the
update.
hospital hangover.
Oh my gosh. I have a crick in my spine from sitting in this hard chair for hours.
They make those chairs uncomfortable because they don't want you staying there.
Well, I tell you, I'm staying 12 hours plus a day because I love my aunt and I'm making sure anytime she grunts, like we're adjusting, making her comfortable. But she did have a bit of a turnaround today, baby steps.
yeah.
It's going to be a process, but at least we're not going backwards.
Yep.
So we're going to jump in. We're going to actually cover the hearing today for the trial selection or the trial date. I'm sorry. And so, Fruit Loop, why don't you go ahead and jump into that? Because you watched, I had one earbud in, but doctors were coming in talking to us. I didn't get to hear much.
Yep. So Chad's trial has been set for January 9th, 2023. It's expected to last up to 10 weeks, which goes into March. I want to say March 17th or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that does include like jury selection. And they said that could take up to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was really just back and forth on why Wood wanted it in September of 2023.
I think, yeah, September, October. I did hear
Yeah,
that part.
yeah. He wanted that. He throws it over to Archibald, and him and Archibald kind of in the same, uh, like what they're wanting.
Right.
And Boyce interjects and talks about Lori not being competent right now, so it's hard for Archibald to say. And then Pryor's got to throw his 2 cents in.
I heard
That
him being his little condescending self in bits and pieces.
he did several times. He made a remark about Wood giving him a response to emotion in the last minute. Like, you know how he always takes those jabs.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm going to be watching the comments on the live is always funny.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, one of them was, tell me why my skin crawls when Pryor talks.
It's true. He's going to have a very hard time getting a jury to like him, which is what defense attorneys really. I mean, it's not like you have to make them like you, but when you come in talking to witnesses in a condescending and rude tone, it's not, we don't want him to win any favors with the jury, but I don't think he's going about this smart. You and I
Right.
look at this like a juror because
Yeah.
we're not legal. If I had to sit in on jury duty in this trial and he talked to people the way he talked, I would not like that. And that's not what you're supposed to focus on, but it's human.
Yep.
It's like nails
Yep.
on a chalkboard. Anyways,
So they talked about weather with those dates. Wood thinks it's a bad idea because of weather. Archibald kind of agreed with him. It sounded like Pryor had said prior to this, because Wood makes a comment and says that Pryor thinks along that same line about weather, and then Pryor goes, "No, I'll be ready in January. I'm good with January."
okay.
So it was
I
like,
was not happy to hear January, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to that trial. If I have to sit in the overflow room or in the parking lot, it's January. I'm skinny. I got no meat on my bones. I
you gonna
want to.
freeze.
Y'all gonna have a permanent statue of Gigi in front of the courthouse like this, like walking.
You gonna be like one of them ice cubes.
I got to get me a parka.
Yeah. Hey, it's like Dumb and Dumber when they're riding that moped up to Denver or whatever, and they get froze, they stuck.
I think my aunt, who's in ICU at one point, superimposed our faces on that one time.
She did, I think. I think I remember
Yeah,
that.
that's funny.
Uh,
So was
so
that kind of
you
it?
know our sponsor, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. We want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Two Cool T-shirt Quilts. The nice pillows are helping us out in ICU, making my aunt very comfortable, I might add. But behind me, if I don't move in the way I don't need to move, there. If you look right here, you can see how lovely this quilt is.
Yeah.
It is huge. It is beautifully done. I highly recommend it. I have some friends here that are getting their t-shirts together. They saw this quilt and was like, wow, this is really good quality. So if
Yeah.
you want one, a pillow, all kinds of stuff, go to twocooltshirtquilts.com/pretty lies and alibis. And what can Andrea do?
They can take your t-shirts and make them into a quilt that is too cool.
And we
And
do
remember,
what?
remember, it's not just t-shirts.
That's right. Not just t-shirts, it can be clothes.
Yep, they can be like your relative that's passed away, clothing, whatever. Yeah, it'd
That's
be cool.
great. Yeah. Okay, I had a thought. It went. So let's go. All
Yeah.
right. So one thing that was interesting is there was a banner on the bottom of Court TV today that said a source told them that a grand jury is reconvening in the Daybell case. So
Uh,
I saw that up on the TV in the ICU, and I look. So here's the thing. We know that grand juries and jury trials are suspended in Idaho. On September 27th, they had a big COVID surge and decided to shut those back down. September 27th, it reconvenes December 6th. So we don't know if this is for Arizona. It's completely possible a grand jury could convene to add Chad onto the charges for Charles or Brandon. No, he got Brandon, right?
yeah.
Did
Yeah.
he?
Him. Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
No, I think maybe it was just Lori. Anyways, we don't know. Could he be getting an indictment for Charles? Could it be Brandon? Could it be Melanie Pulowski? There's a lot of options. We don't even know where this is convening. It could be in Idaho after the 6th. We'll have to keep an eye on that for you. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And Pryor has asked for a severance hearing, but he hasn't filed anything about it yet.
Yeah. He said the
And
paperwork was ready to go.
yeah,
Yeah.
checks in the mail.
Yeah.
So another thing with this case, the attorney for the Church of the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints objects to Mark Means' subpoena. And today, if you remember, they were supposed to call that employee of the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, but they decided that will happen at a later time. So that's kind of the goods of what happened today in
I'm
that.
here honestly. We talked about this before we came on. Archibald is way less obnoxious than Mings.
Oh yeah, he's straightforward.
Yeah.
There's no, frills, jazz hands.
Yeah.
Like, got to make it scandalous. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Exactly. Yep.
And you have to wonder if honestly, is there a disconnect between the two because you have Means filing his own motions without Archibald, who is a death penalty certified attorney. Yeah, the dynamics there could be interesting.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into day 4 of the Josh Duggar trial. Now, I have to say, his little brother, Justin, I think he's 17 or 18, just got married. He was there with his new wife. And when he was leaving the court, he literally gave a thumbs up and a smile.
I saw it.
And I'm like, how can you come out of a trial like that? Hearing what they heard if they were in there.
Yeah, somebody said they think he went back to his TV personality, that his parents told him to always smile at the camera.
Yeah, well, read the room, Justin.
Yeah.
Read the room, my dude.
Yeah.
Oh, so anyway, the day started with the defense continuing their cross-examination of Homeland Security Special Agent Gerald Faulkner. He was asked about the items that were seized during the search warrant at Josh's car lot, such as his iPhone, the office electronic combination, a bag with his MacBook Pro laptop, which was found in an RV on the property, by the way. The HP computer that had the 2 partitions where the abuse material was downloaded. They also submitted into evidence SD cards and thumb drives.
Look, here's the deal. They have his, and we know this from the Daybell Valley, Alex, all that Alex Cox stuff. They pinned his cell phone in the exact location where the computer was at the same time the stuff was accessed. So we know they can do that.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen them pinpoint exactly. So,
right.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt as one with Faulkner because he admits that he made a mistake on the timestamp by 5 to 6 hours, calling the time conversions his Achilles heel. This is why you and I could never do stuff like this, because we would lose the case with off times because we suck at math.
Yeah. Yeah. So they discussed ex-employee Caleb Williams, but he was in Illinois in May of 2019 when the abuse materials were downloaded. It was only part of the investigation when Josh's attorney brought him to the attention of the government just last month. So that's the one that he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the prosecution objected to this, and it was sustained
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
on
objected to this testimony because he's not there.
yeah.
The defense is throwing a bunch of boo-boo against the wall and
Yeah.
hoping a little piece sticks. That's what I figured out about their defense.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, he Josh waived his Miranda rights when they
Yeah.
were in.
And then he said, I'm not admitting guilt or innocence or
I'm not
something.
saying I'm innocent or guilty. I could tell you if you was questioning me, I'll be like, I did not do it.
I know.
I will tell you I
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Yeah. And there on down, there's a witness that had access to that computer, and we'll get there. And I was like, why would you say this, dude? Okay, so keep going.
So they discussed. Oh wait, sorry, we already got there. We getting all excited. On redirect, the defense asked if he would have investigated hacking, remote access, or Caleb Williams being at the car lot, and Special Agent Faulkner said he would have if there had been evidence of this, but there wasn't, and they had no legal position to search Caleb Williams' phone. So what they're saying is he can access it remotely, is what they're trying to say.
They're trying to say that, but they didn't see any evidence of that. And it's really hard to do, I think, with the Linux anyway.
Well, it's Josh's passwords.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next witness, Matthew Waller, was a former employee of the car lot. He is related to Josh by marriage, saying his sister-in-law's sister is Anna Duggar. He stopped working there in April of 2019 and saw Josh at a homeschool conference in May of 2019 for about a week. And here we go. When asked by the defense about the password, Intel 1988, he said it sounded faintly familiar but couldn't place it for sure. The prosecution came shouting at him, "Were you hiding it from me? You just didn't think to tell us?" The reason this, and go ahead, you explain that part.
Well, I mean, I think the reason this is significant is because it can put doubt in a juror's mind that maybe it wasn't Josh. If somebody else has this password. Now, I can't understand for the life of me why this guy would want to say he may remember the password. To me, it would say, are you downloading this stuff?
Yeah, have you accessed the computer?
Yeah, because you just don't want to give the jurors a second choice.
Yeah.
So that's why the prosecutor, flipped his lid. Because now that's going to be something the defense kind of focuses on. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So then he says, "I told you I thought you were hiding something, didn't I? I asked you specifically if you were intending to testify to something that you were not telling me." And Roberts indicated that Waller previously told him he didn't know the password.
Yeah. So the defense asked if he remembered the prosecution questioning him about the password before. And he said it's hard to remember who's government lawyers and who's defense lawyers. Sorry.
And he says, who is defense saying he is just starting to get it straight? The prosecution went back and forth about whether he had been hiding his knowledge of the password, and he said it only rang a vague bell. But this was also, right, his bank account password, Josh's. If I'm, yeah. You're muted. Do you know you're muted? I don't know what Gigi's doing over there. She's muted and I don't think she can hear us. So finally, the judge told the prosecution that they can only beat a dead horse for so long. They called Jeffrey Wofford, who discussed the accountability software, Covenant Eyes. Yeah, are you muted? Because I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me now? Okay, you're muted, Fruit Loop. You got to go down in that little box and unmute.
No, I
don't
got
know
you. I
what in the
just
world.
muted.
I still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can't hear you. Sorry. So they called. So essentially, Linux doesn't have many users, and so Covenant Eyes, in my theory, doesn't find it worthwhile to install something like that in the Covenant software with such a small population actually using that. It's probably not worth their money. And he confirmed the case seems to be that Linux was installed on that HP to create that separate computer to bypass Covenant Eyes. That's why you would do it, to not alert that software that your wife's got on you, that you look at dirty stuff, and then you can look at really vile stuff.
Yeah, I've seen Covenant
So then
Eyes.
Marshall Kennedy of Homeland Security was called. He said he works in forensic computer evidence. They were only able to do a partial extraction of a phone due to not having a passcode. On a cross exam, he said there was no abuse material on his iPhone or Mac laptop. And I mean, that's not hard to figure out why. He had a dedicated computer that was souped up for this kind of stuff. He wasn't going to carry that in his pocket or let the kids, use this computer. On the MacBook, they had like family movies downloaded. So I don't think it's a big, redeeming thing that he didn't have this on these other devices. He's got one. He knows where it is. So with the HP computer, he said it was clearly a work computer because of the ads and the software installed, and it had no abuse material. But there was a partition installed May 11th, which is around the time this started getting downloaded. And there were 5 torrent files downloaded, but they were fragmented, and the names of the files were abuse material names. And at the time, they weren't viewable, but they can go in and make them viewable. So prosecutor William Kleiman submitted over 30 exhibits into evidence. Included are files, documents, computer logs, spreadsheets, photographic images, and videos obtained from the HP computer that was taken from the car lot. The last witness of the day was James Futrell from U.S. Department of Justice. He was questioned about what he found on the electronic devices seized. He confirmed the installation of the Linux partition on Josh's computer. He said, he was asked, why would someone want to install this? And the agent said, I want to hide my identity and appear like I'm coming from somewhere else, which essentially means you don't want to be traced. The jury was shown images and videos he found. The galley is not being shown these images, only the jury, and they are having reactions to it, as I could imagine. The computer log showed file names, descriptions, and the date and time of the downloads. All of the abuse material submitted into evidence was found only on the Linux partition of the HP computer. So that kind of summed up today's testimony. Sorry if this was a little garbled, but you get the gist of it, that they're trying to insinuate somebody else accessed that computer, and the password was also the same one Josh used for his bank. So don't think that's going to fly. I don't know. They seem kind of desperate to pin it on anybody but old Joshy boy. So that's all we got for you tonight. We will hopefully be back tomorrow to finish out this week of the Duggar trial, and we will check and see about anything else in Daybell if they file anything tomorrow. All right, guys. Sorry for the stumbling around. We appreciate you being patient, and have a good night.